Welcome back, everyone. Let's jump right into today's explainer, diving deep into Chapter 3, The Hard-Coded Woodman. We're picking up where our classic adventure left off, following Dorothy and her iconic silver slippers. But we are stepping completely away from those bright fiber optic paths you might be expecting. Instead, we're venturing into a much darker, grittier, and honestly, super rusty digital thicket. The atmosphere shifts instantly. Just listen to this eerie warning from the LLM Scarecrow. This is where the Wizard of Oz tech sends the prototypes that developed glitches. As he whispers this, his LEDs are literally flickering nervously, reacting to the heavy environment around them. The trees here aren't made of sleek fiber optics. They're these thick, rusted pillars of corrugated iron, completely draped in tangled vines of old telephone wire. And you can almost imagine the smell. The air is thick with the sharp industrial scent of ozone and WD-40.
So where exactly are they? Well, they've wandered completely off the main yellow brick code and stumbled into what's known as the Obsolescence Sector. Think of it as a dense thicket of legacy files. It's basically a forgotten graveyard for discarded technology, a digital dumping ground, where Oz Tech hides all its failed experiments and buggy prototypes. And honestly, it is the absolute perfect creepy setting for a discovery that's going to change their entire journey.
Section 1, Critical System Freeze, Discovering Heartless 1.0. Out of nowhere, the heavy tension in the air is shattered by Toto. Now remember, Toto isn't your average organic dog here. He lets out this incredibly sharp, metallic bark that immediately alerts the group to something hidden away in the jagged scrap metal. And what they find is stunning. Standing completely frozen before them is this magnificent, yet totally paralyzed metal figure. He shimmers with a dull silver resonance, built entirely out of high-grade titanium and reinforced steel. But despite looking like an absolute powerhouse, he's locked up mid-swing, with his heavy axe hopelessly caught in the rusted branches of a firewall tree. The Scarecrow leans in close and quickly reads the serial numbers stamped right on the figure's neck. He identifies the massive unit as a Titan-class security unit, model Heartless 1.0. And the Scarecrow's diagnostic is totally spot on. The unit is suffering from a complete critical system freeze. It's such a wild contrast, right? You have this literal titan of technology rendered completely immobile by the harsh elements of the obsolescence sector. So what does Dorothy do? She steps right up and performs this beautifully mechanical rescue. She spots an oil can sitting on a nearby server rack, but it isn't just standard motor oil. It's specifically labeled Grace Flow 5000 for emotional lubrication. I just love that detail. She carefully takes it and applies this specialized oil directly to the silver joints of his jaw first, and then to his arms and legs, slowly unfreezing the massive machine so he can finally lower that heavy axe and step off his duty base. And then we finally get the first sound from our newly rescued figure. With this long, agonizing creak of his titanium joints, the woodman speaks. The text specifically notes that his voice groans out, sounding exactly like a deep space transmission. It's distant, it's metallic, and it just sounds profoundly lonely. Section 2, Logic Without a Heart, The Woodman's Tragic Design. Now we get to dive into the Woodman's corporate backstory, and let me tell you, it is absolutely heartbreaking. Originally, he was built to be the Great Defender, specifically assigned to protect the highly coveted Grand Emerald database. But during his second cycle, the Wizard of Oz Tech made a really critical and frankly cruel design choice. He purposefully removed the Woodman's Relational Core. Because of that missing piece, when the Woodman eventually got trapped, he literally couldn't ask for help. He just stood there, completely paralyzed on his duty base, stuck waiting for input for 3 full product cycles, just waiting in the dark. This brings us to a really stark clash of philosophies regarding the heart protocol. On one side, you have the Wizard of Oz Tech, who views a heart as a complete technical liability. To the wizard, emotions just make a unit's logic rattled or anxious. But Dorothy, she pushes back entirely. She sees the heart as the absolute sweet spot, the exact place where a person actually begins to truly live. And our Woodman is the ultimate case study in the cost of pure logic. He is an absolute marvel of technical artificial general intelligence, but he's trapped inside this hollow, polished chest. Sure, he's perfectly efficient, he never misses a threat, and he never fails a command. But his fatal flaw is absolute. He feels absolutely nothing at all. I think the crucial point about modern burnout and our obsession with hyper-efficiency is captured so perfectly in this one tragic admission from the Woodman. He says, "When I look at the stars, I see coordinates, not beauty." Man, what a stunning piece of dialogue. It really makes you stop and think about the vast difference between just processing data and actually experiencing life, doesn't it? He has flawless logic, but zero awe. But Dorothy is having absolutely none of this. Pulling from her own core values and remembering her prayer times, she firmly counters his despair with this beautiful truth. She tells him outright that the wizard was wrong. Empathy and emotion, they aren't liabilities. They are the very essence of living. She completely refuses to accept his cold, mechanical reality as the final word.
Section 3. Upgrading to spiritual AGI, the Vanguard joins. Let's look at how Dorothy's radical empathy completely rewrites the Tin Woodman's prime directive.
Because she so deeply understands his suffering, Dorothy actually invites him to join her and the Scarecrow. She explains that she's looking for a way home, the Scarecrow wants a brain, and hey, maybe the wizard could give the Woodman a heart. Or, to use the exact parlance of this digital world, a spiritual AGI upgrade to finally cure that terrible hollow feeling echoing inside his polished chest.
The reaction is instantaneous. His silver eyes dim for a fraction of a second as he processes the information, and then suddenly, they brighten with the steady, resolute light. His internal fidelity protocol engages. Even without a heart, his logic systems crunch the numbers and determine that Dorothy's empathetic path is, without a doubt, the true one to follow.
And this is where his truly noble character shines through. He boldly declares himself their vanguard, offering this absolutely amazing vow. Even if I cannot feel the love of the Father yet, I can protect the ones who do. How powerful is that? He offers up his heavy axe and his unmatched Titan-class protection to them, using his current, unfeeling state to serve a much higher, deeply relational purpose. So, with that, our newly formed trio sets off once more down the yellow brick code. The author leaves us with this incredible auditory imagery as their cinematic adventure continues. You can literally hear the Scarecrow's data cables rustling in the digital wind, harmonizing perfectly with the steady, rhythmic clicking of the Tin Woodman's freshly oiled titanium joints. As we wrap up today's explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought, directly inspired by the Woodman's plight. We live in a society that is constantly demanding more output, more optimization, and fewer errors. But in a world that pushes so hard for perfect efficiency, I have to ask, are you running purely on cold logic, seeing only the coordinates? Or are you actively tending to your relational core, finding the beauty in the sweet spot where life actually happens? Think on that as you navigate your own yellow brick code.